This is another hot one. Hot one, everybody. Yeah, we're back. It's stirring up with the Netflix side of Marvel. Moved over to Disney Plus. Sounds like they're being integrated into the MCU fully and completely soon. This I hope, but what will we get? What will we keep? What will go? Who knows? Who will stay? And who will fade away? More after this.
United Comics Universe.
A universe for fans.
From pages to pictures, we are comics.
Hello, United Comics Universe. This is your dog JoninSho back at you again. This one's coming at us from Screen Rant. We're talking about what they're calling now the Defenders Saga. So, okay. And it looked like they're considering some of this that, was made a long time ago, part of Phase 4. So, we don't know if they're going to be continuing on from where they left off. They're going to be rebooting or what. But this article seems pretty interesting. I hope you enjoy it. And if you're hype about our Marvel's Netflix characters moving over to the MCU, let us know down below. And let us know who you want to stay and who you want to go, for that matter. Again, coming at us from Screen Rant, and this is another hot one. Yeah, baby. And it goes like this. Marvel's Netflix Marvel series stars celebrate Disney Plus move in new Primo video. Stars one of the once Netflix Marvel shows. Once Netflix, huh? Recently took to social media to celebrate the move to Disney Plus in a new promotional video. Okay. This one's by Josh Plains. Published about 4 days ago. Stars of the once Netflix shows Daredevil, Jessica Jones, The Punisher, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, The Defenders, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh yeah, baby. I love all of that. Celebrate their series move to Disney Plus in a new promotional video, long before Phase 4 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe began on Disney Plus, with WandaVision, The Defenders Saga, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. premiered to critical and commercial acclaim. However, in 2018, Disney/Marvel Studios ended their relationship with Netflix and ABC. Oh yeah, it was a whole thing about that. We covered it in another video, resulting in the cancellation of half a dozen shows as the former studio prepared to launch its own streaming service. The aforementioned shows remained on Netflix in the years that followed, and despite campaigns like #SaveDaredevil, it appeared characters like Daredevil Charlie Cox, Punisher John Bernthal, Jessica Jones JJ, Kristen Ritter, Luke Cage Mike Coulter, and Iron Fist Finn Jones would be left behind. All of that changed last year when Cox's Matt Murdock and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin made appearances in the MCU projects Spider-Man No Way Home and Disney Plus's Hawkeye, respectively. Then, Disney announced that every season of Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, The Punisher, The Defenders, and ABC's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would become available on its streaming service beginning March the 16th, 2022. Alright, anybody plan on going in and revisiting? Maybe watch Daredevil again? That would probably be really good. And I definitely advise checking out Iron Fist because a lot of people didn't get it. I'm thinking about doing a video explaining so people can actually understand what was going on with Iron Fist, because a lot of people got it wrong. I don't think they understand what was going on. They don't understand it was Danny. Basically, just to sum it up, it was Danny Rand's origin. They're expecting him to be, in the comics. If you just, go see the comics, you're not seeing his origin. You're seeing what he already became after about like 30 years or so of training. Because he was a child, and then he was in an accident, lost his parents, and raised in a monastery. He's not from there, so he was treated like a foreigner. So he's like kind of part, Kunlun Denison, and also, from New York, So a lot happened to him when he was young, so that it kind of tore him apart. Because originally Iron Fist is really just tormented person until he come to grips with himself. He's like, he lives like a duality. He's conflicted about his feelings and desires as Danny Rand, and then he's conflicted about his responsibilities as the Iron Fist. Eventually, over time, after he returns and goes back and returns and all that and everything like back and forth, he eventually merges his conflictions. He merges it together and become truly who he is, which he's, pretty much becomes the Iron Fist Danny Rand. You know what I mean? So he's actually taking his responsibility and accepting who he is and where he came from at the same time, and just no more duality. He's just who he is, and that's when he's really get good at martial arts. Until then, you just see spurts of it, like he's in different battles and everything like that. He'll like he won't be doing too well, then suddenly, his attitude to change, and he would just go off, just because he got the skill and training within him. He just don't bring it out that much because he's always in emotional conflict. That's always been Danny Rand's weakness. I don't want to go too deep into this. I probably need to do a video about it, but Danny Rand, his weaknesses is pretty much his emotional mental state. That's how they often was able to defeat him sometimes, is things would happen that would disturb him.
First question, tell me about what's Danny's personality, what are his motives, what are his goals for the series?
You know what, it's very difficult to answer those questions in a nice, neat little soundbite because Danny's a very complex individual. I guess at the heart of him, he's a very vulnerable guy he's almost like a lost soul that's trying to find his purpose and trying to find his identity. He has this huge responsibility, which is the Iron Fist, and he's trying to come to terms with what that means. And also, he's trying to iron out a lot of his own inner issues. And I think the season 1 of Iron Fist is all about him going through these huge contradictions in his life and learning to embrace them rather than fight them. And yeah, Danny's just on this huge journey. Like I just said just then, when the character we see at the beginning in episode 1 is very different to the character we see at the end of Iron Fist. And even, we're shooting the end of Defenders right now, and where Danny's at the end of Defenders is like miles apart. So over these 21 episodes, I think, of television, you're really going to see Danny come into himself, become more grounded, hopefully, and kind of iron out a lot of his inner torment and inner issues.
And last question, what are you most excited for Iron Fist to be out?
I'm just excited for the fans to see it. We've worked really hard on this show. A lot of love, a lot of passion's gone into it, a lot of hard work's gone into it. And I'm just looking forward to everyone seeing it on this Friday, March 17th. And I think people are really going to enjoy it. I'm really proud of the work we've done, and I think it's going to be great.
And will make him in conflict with himself, his duties as Iron Fist, but also his feelings as Danny Rand, until he becomes more himself. But it still is always slightly a problem throughout his life. But that's when you would really expect him to be the true Iron Fist, and he's just amazing skill and all of the whininess and everything and the confusion that he has that you see in the origin story on Netflix. Well, was on Netflix, on Disney Plus now, on the Netflix series, Marvel Netflix series that they created. That's why you see a lot that goes on. Is I think everybody's expecting him to be the Iron Fist that they think they know, but they don't know the whole story. And we're seeing the beginning, the origin. You got to see him become the Iron Fist. None of what we saw on the Netflix version he wasn't the Iron Fist yet. He had the Iron Fist. He fought the dragon and got the Iron Fist power, but he really wasn't himself yet. He's still in conflict with his feelings and his past, what happened to him. And the fact that, everything he was feeling and imagining when he was in Kunlun, and that's why he left, because he was in conflict. He wasn't just totally at peace, because if not, he would have never left Kunlun. And then that's why he moved. He went to New York, because he wanted to go to New York to find out more about himself, see what's going on. And he's expecting the people that he considered his family that was still alive to treat him well and would miss him and everything like that. But it was a total opposite. They were just, if you've seen it, they gave him absolute hell. You would see what I'm talking about. If you hadn't seen it, you definitely want to see it, because it's really one of the more interesting stories on, of the Marvel Netflix run. It truly is. Season 1 is like a lot of the origin. 2, I think, because of some of the heat they were catching from season 1, they changed things up a little bit. They start trying to it didn't really make a lot of sense to me. They start trying to make him more awesome, I think, because people were complaining about that he seemed weak and he was whiny and things like that, and they didn't understand a lot what was going on with him. But if you notice in season 1, every now and then he would just go off and be ridiculous, and then go back to being kind of wishy-washy, but that's because he's in torment. And if you pay attention to what's happening in the story, you can see, yeah, he is tormented. They're not considering that this is an origin story, and we seeing what he become. Probably by season 3, maybe he would have been well into being who he truly is. But in season 2, it was kind of weird to me because they tried to push forward while he still hadn't truly went through all the things he needed to go through, or come to grips with all the things he needed to come through to make him awesome or whatever. And it was weird. It was really weird, especially at the end of season 2. And then he's suddenly doing things that he wouldn't be doing yet. It's way later down on the line that he discovered more about his Iron Fist abilities and come to grip with it and everything like that, where he was charging the guns with his chi and everything. It's a while before he's able to do that because he's still, as again, in that state of duality. He's not one with himself yet. But yeah, I could go on about that for a while, so let's just go ahead and stop there and get back to this article. Yeah, big Danny Rand fan, as you know, big Iron Fist fan. Moving right along. Okay, Disney Plus recently dropped a 50-second promo on Twitter celebrating the addition of the Netflix distributed Marvel shows to the streaming service. The video features messages from stars who have appeared in each series, including Cox, D'Onofrio, Ritter, Clark Gregg, Jones, Ming-Na Wen, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Simone Missick, that's Luke Cage, The Defenders, and Ben Barnes, The Punisher. And there's a clip of that here. Go ahead and play this for you. And
this is not a drill.
Daredevil is now streaming on Disney Plus.
My man.
Hey Marvel fans, the cavalry is coming.
Check out Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Disney Plus.
Hey everyone, it's Finn here. Very excited to announce that Iron Fist has found a new home on Disney Plus.
Good news, Marvel fans. Jessica Jones is streaming on Disney Plus.
Hey Marvel fans, Luke Cage and The Defenders are now streaming on Disney Plus.
You guys ready or what?
Calling all you Marvel fans, both seasons of The Punisher are now streaming on Disney Plus.
So yeah, I'm not sure about some of the people we didn't see in the clip, but they might put out more clips. This is on March the 25th, but the hype's looking good. I'm just glad they decided to try and salvage what was done on what they did on Netflix, because it was some of the best work Marvel's ever done as far as I'm concerned. One of the biggest questions surrounding the Defenders saga is it trust me how they call it the Defenders saga now. That's great. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. presence on Disney Plus. Hold on, do you think they're going to like redo Defenders, or do you think they might actually move on to a different team or something like Heroes for Hire, or maybe do both? The Defenders saga and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. presence on Disney Plus regards their MCU status as reports of a Daredevil reboot swirl, and Disney Plus adds parental controls to allow for shows like The Punisher to coexist alongside its family-friendly material. Many assume the Defenders will be granted legacy status, absolutely, and be worked into the MCU. That's what I'm thinking, because I don't see why they would even do that if otherwise. But you never know. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on the other hand presumably takes place in another timeline, which could easily be explained by evoking Marvel Studios' ever-evolving multiverse. That's what I was saying years ago on UCU here. I was saying that they can just use the multiverse and combine it all. So really, with that, that code breaker, you could say they can do anything, use any material that's ever been created that with the Marvel tag on it, and it could be some fantastic things they can do. Like hopefully we're about to see with them salvaging the Defenders saga. Regardless of canonicity, the popularity of these shows remains high. Sure it does. I'm hoping a lot of people is watching it now that it's on Disney Plus, because the more activity it gets, the more chance they'll do a lot with it, put some budget behind it. While ABC and Netflix content making the way to Disney Plus is exciting for Marvel fans, it may be even more gratifying for the stars. Not only do the MCU ramblings bode well for the employment of Matt Murdock and Agent Coulson, but the resurgence of the shows like Daredevil will result in new fans who missed it the first time. Upwards of 7 years ago. Wow, it's that long. As audiences await Moon Knight. March the 30th, baby. Oh yeah, make sure you check that Moon Knight out. We did a video on it. More to come. Looking fantastic. Haven't watched the first episode yet, but it airs today. As audiences await Moon Knight and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, they can binge all 6 Marvel shows on Disney+. I heard that. That sounds like a good idea to me. If you want to know what the Defenders saga is all about. I will warn you though, but it's, by the time they get to Defenders, they could have did better. It seemed rushed. But that's because everything was already canceled by that point. But yeah, it seemed rushed, and I don't think it was done that well. People who were really into it was anticipating a lot more for the Defenders, and I think they released it too soon. I think they should have, their individual series, I think they should have let them go to a little further point where you can kind of get that feeling that they've already become a cohesive unit, a cohesive group, before actually doing the Defenders, because the Defenders kind of like in a wishy-washy, sped up, undetailed way threw them all together and they start working together. But at least it did show some conflict between the different team members and how they had to come to grips with things. That part was kind of good, and they came together at the end. But I highly recommend watching all the Netflix stuff if you hadn't seen it. Very, very good. But please take the time to subscribe if you haven't already, and keep it rumbling out there on Rumble. Thanks for coming out, UCU family members, ninjas, nerds, geeks, and fans. We appreciate you. We're here for you. We bring it to you for you, by your people at the United Comics Universe. For fans, by fans. And I'll keep sniffing around, see if I see anything good for us. But until then, I will catch you again, and we are, you guessed it, comics, baby.
They're the greatest stories ever told. Heroes show us we don't need to be perfect to do what's right. It's not about living without fear, but facing injustice. It's not about being powerful, but finding your calling when you least expect it. They show us it's okay to be vulnerable, no matter how tough you are. Because even though they're heroes, they're still human.
Discover the greatest stories ever told. Only on Netflix.
Looks like I got here just in time.
Copyright disclaimer. Citation of articles and authors in this report does not imply ownership. Works and images presented here fall under Fair Use Section 107 and are used for commentary on globally significant newsworthy events. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Community Guidelines Disclaimer. The points of view and purpose of this video is not to bully or harass anyone, but rather share that opinion and thoughts with other like-minded individuals curious about the subject.